Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily, the first English news program in Poland. I am your host, Benjamin Lee. Polish President Andrzej Duda has decided to veto the new legislation intended to strip the ranks of communist military commanders. He pointed out that the bill lacks procedures to appeal their demotions. The president says that he will try to work out a different solution to the difficult and sensitive issue.
Plenty supporters of the ruling party and government representatives were caught by surprise that the president announced his veto on Good Friday out of all days. The former Minister of Defense, Antoni Macierewicz, argues that the veto might legitimize the legacy of communist military officers. It is something that he believes to be of negative impact for the morale of Polish soldiers currently serving the nation. The president's position on the issue is shocking. I'm concerned that a president voted into power by the patriotic electorate is now representing a stance at odds with the fundamental elements of the tradition of the Polish independence movement. I believe that the veto will raise the morale and strengthen the influence of those who took part in the communist military junta, which declared martial law in 1981 and used it to violently suppress Polish dissidents and patriots. It's another step in the wrong direction, which we had plenty in the past few months. Last summer, President Duda also vetoed the first version of the Polish judicial reform. In the wake of that decision, political commentators started speculating whether or not it was a part of a strategy meant to secure his re-election in 2020. They argued that President Duda has realized that he will need a significant portion of the centrist vote in order to win a second term as president. It remains to be seen if the strategy would pay off, considering the risk of disillusioned conservative voters staying home on election day in 2020.
Good Friday is a special day for the Roman Catholic Church. On this day, there is no Holy Mass, but a Passion liturgy and the adoration of the cross. It is a day of meditation and silence, so no bells or clappers are being used in the churches.
Since the discovery of the Christ's cross in the 4th century, we have been following the Jerusalem formula of the liturgy. We kiss the cross, we put the Lord's cross in the center, we remember about it, but also recollect the resurrection, because it reminds us that we can defeat the ultimate enemy, death itself. After the communion, the Holy Sacrament is taken to the symbolic grave of Jesus Christ, where the faithful pray until midnight and until dusk on the Great Saturday. Priest Walenty Królak reminds us that this is the day our salvation began, thanks to the sacrifice on the cross. He says that this is the reason why the cross is so important today. Each and every one of us has our own cross. There are those who lost relatives. There are countless ill children whose parents watch over them. We should stop for a moment and reflect on that. Be aware of the problems of the youth. Be aware of how fragile our lives are and how quick we pass away. The time of the Paschal Triduum, and especially the Good Friday, is a good time for conversion, a self-reflection and an escape from the bad habits of life. Many people under the influence of the Christ's Passion receive the healing grace and want to get rid of their weaknesses and sins. Many go to confession or seek help to relieve their sin through the resurrection, to get rid of what enslaves us. Good Friday is also the Way of the Cross, a ceremony performed not only in churches but also on the city streets. As of every year, the Pope will hold a special Way of the Cross in the Roman Colosseum in the evening.
Pampanga province in the north of Philippines hosts a traditional ceremony relating to the last earthly walk of Jesus Christ. Each year, local believers subject themselves to self-flagellation and voluntary crucifixion.
This is our way of experiencing the Holy Week. God worshippers recall Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem and his sacrifice which he made for us. He allowed himself to be crucified, and through this act he redeemed our sins. The Filipinos inflict pain on themselves in order to atone for their sins and to beg the Lord for necessary graces. When you are being elevated on that cross, that is a gruesome pain, especially for the legs. The worst moment happens when you are being elevated and then when you are being lowered back down. Once you are up there hanging and not moving much, the pain is endurable. This year, I didn't suffer. In previous years, I went home wounded and crippled. This year, however, I feel great. I feel as if Christ himself was telling me, go on, do not stop. For a long period of time, the crucifixion and self-flagellation happening on Good Friday was strictly religious. Over time, however, these practices began transitioning into flashy spectacles, which draw thousands of tourists from all over the globe to the Philippines. For that reason, in recent years, state authorities imposed a ban on active participation in the bloodiest rituals among foreigners. The Philippines are among the most Catholic countries in the whole world. There are almost 76 million Catholics in the country, which makes up over 81% of the whole nation.
Every year since 2012, the Polish radio Wnet organizes a special Easter fair. The fair is a good opportunity to try traditional Polish Easter dishes and purchase handcrafted Easter decorations.
You can get some high-quality products at the fair, and this is where I'll do my Easter shopping. The idea of a direct sale far away from the noise of the big shopping malls came to life on an agricultural farm of the Klepka family at the Ponidzie area. Products like this has been sold here for 6 years, because as we like to say it, there are a lot of connoisseurs. They just can't wait until the next fair takes place. The Easter fair was also visited by the Polish MEP Ryszard Czarnecki, who ran out of zlotys for sheep cheese. I bought 2 pieces of sheep cheese. I wanted more, but unfortunately I ran out of our national currency. The lady is a patriot and she didn't accept euros. On one hand I am happy because I'm against the euro currency, but on the other I'm quite sad. I won't have my 3rd piece of sheep cheese. In Poland, traditional meals are an essential part of Easter. However, the tradition of painting Easter eggs is as important as delicious food. Mrs. Jadwiga gave us her painting techniques. It's a very old traditional pattern. It's written in wax, then the egg needs to be dipped in paint, the pattern applied, and we get a beautiful Easter egg.
That's it for today. We wish you a happy holiday. See you next time on Poland Daily.